book database, and a book would have a author, a name, a title, a year of publish, chapters or pages. So I think we're just going to go I'm just going to go on with pages, not chapters. So we're going to create two tables because we want to create a relational database, and a relational database has to relate with each other, right? Like relational database. We are creating more than one table so that we can relate them to each other, so that we can create entities that have relationships. Now what do I mean? Now our author table is going to have a name and then our author ID. Now this author ID, we can have like an author could have written like many books. Doesn't have to be one book, right? So they can write as many books as possible. So we don't want, one thing you need to deal with in your database is repetition. So we want to reduce repetition to the barest minimum. So to do that, we can have author ID in place of the author name in the books table. So our author table, we have the name of the author, the author ID. Now, because what I mean by repetition is that I can be bearing Balogun Rukayat, and then I have like another author that bears Balogun Rukayat. So how do we want to distinguish author 1 from author 2 if they bear the same name? Because their names are the same. So if we put all of these entities into one table, it's a repetition of identity, because you won't be able to distinguish one author from the other one because they bear the same name. So we want to avoid that. We want to create clarity in our database. So for the book table, we are going to have the name of the book, the title of the book, the year it was published, and the number of pages that this book has. So now let's go ahead and create the database. So the name of the database that I want to create is I'll say book details. So I'm going to say so to create. So in this lesson, we are going to be learning 4 operations, or basically in a database system we have 4 operations that we are going to be performing, and it's crude. Okay, we have create, we have read, we have update, we have delete. Now this here, they fall under another 4 category. Now this 4 category would then mean in a database management system there are some commands that define how our database how we relate with our database, or how we can manage our database. Now the first one is DDL, which is data definition language. Now the second is DML, which is data manipulation language. The third is DQL, which is data query language. We have the last one is TCL, which is transaction control commands. Okay, so this is everything that is on database. So each of these has their own TCC. So now we have commands in each of this. Now for this first one, data definition language. In data definition language, we define how our database is going to we define the structure of our database. And to define the structure of our database, we use some commands like create, because create is a keyword that we use to create an instance, right? So we also use, you want to say something? So I'm going to share you this link where you can have like access to the reading materials for each of this. So for data definition language, we have create, alter, and drop. Let me just quickly scroll down to that part. So data definition language enables you to create, change, and restructure, or even destroy any of the basic elements that are contained in a relational database. So the take home is that data definition language defines the structure of your database. So the command that we use for that is create, alter, and drop. So create an instance. It can create a table, it can create a view, you can create a database, you can create a stored procedure, you can create a function. Anytime you see the word create being used, it means that an instance is being defined. Then we have the alter keyword. Can you see my screen? What can you see? So the alter, we have alter, which is a statement that is used to change the structure of a defined instance, like a table, a view, a stored procedure, or thereabouts. Then we have drop. Drop is used to reverse whatever we have created, which means drop is used to delete, permanently destroy an instance. It could be a database, it could be a table, it could be a view, it could be a stored procedure. So the first few commands that we're going to take a look at now is these three: create, alter, and drop. So now let's go ahead and create an instance. So now we want to create a database, right? And we said our database name. We want to create a database, and we want to name it book details. So now to create the database, I'm going to use the word create. To create a database, we're going to use the create word. We'll say create a database and then the name of the database. So the name of the database that we want to create is book details. Okay, so if you look at the list of databases I have now, I don't have book details there. So if I run this now, so it is important that you stop your command with this semicolon right here. So to run just a single line, I'm going to highlight the command like this and click on run. But if I want to run the entire script, I don't need to highlight anything. I could just come here and click run. But if I come here and click run now, it's going to run from the top to bottom, and this is not an SQL command, so this is going to give me a throwback error. So I'm just going to only execute this part of the script. So you can see commands completed successfully. Execution time is 749 milliseconds. So let's see if my database is there now. I have book details. Can you see? So to tell my database or to tell my SQL that I want to use that book details, there are two ways to do this. Is either I come here, click on this drop down and click on book details, or I come here and I type the word use and then book details like this. Because if I don't tell SQL to explicitly use these book details, it's going to, by default I was on what, masters, right? So it's going to continue to like save everything that I do in masters, which I do not want. So if I run this now, book details is now, you can see now for masters it has changed to book details. So book details is now my current working database. Now, do I have any tables in book details? No. Or do I? I've not written anything there. So if I say select everything from sys.tables. Now sys.tables is used to check the tables I have in my current database. Check the tables and associated information in my current database. At the moment I have nothing. Here, so there's no information to return back. So let's go ahead and create a table or tables. So I want to create two tables. I want to create author, books, or book. Then I want to, in my author table, I want to put in a name and the author ID. So to create a table, I'm just going to use the word again, create table, and then the name of the table that I want to create, which is author. Now to create a table, I also need to tell SQL what entities that I want to the values I want to put in, or the entities I want to take. So for this particular one, I want the name and the author, right? So I'm going to put name and author, so the author ID. So I'm going to say author name like this, author name, and I'm going to say the ID. Now, or I can put in the ID first. Just going to say ID and then the name. Now I'm getting this reddish thing. It's telling me that this is not complete. No, it's not because of that. So it's telling me that I need to define the definition of column author name must include a data type, which means what kind of data type do I want the ID to take? What kind of data type do I want the author name to take? There are different data types. Now if you come here again and you go back, let's say we go back to SQL. If I search here again, should be this one. This is the installation. I thought I wrote something on database data types. Let's see, data type. Okay, I know I did something like that. So data types in SQL. So we have different data types in SQL. Now SQL is expecting me to put a data type here, right? The definition of column author name must include a data type. So we have different data types in SQL. We have integer, which is used to store whole numbers that are both positive and negative. We have small int, which is used to store numbers that ranges from minus 2000 to plus 32,000. Big ints that can store up to 19 digits. I mean 1 2 3 4 5 6. Yes, 19. And I have numeric, I have decimal, I have real, I have character. So character stores alphanumeric characters, and character, by default character takes in a value of one character, but you can specify the number of characters that you want the char or character to take. So if I wanted to just take one character, I will just put char. But if I wanted to take more than one character, I need to specify like this char and then the number of characters I wanted to take. So the maximum that this char can take is 254, and we have varchar. Varchar can take up to 32,672 characters. We have club, which can take up to 1234. That's 13 character. Sorry, it's over 2 million characters. So think of all these web pages that you've gone to, and you're asked to put in a paragraph or something like that. So these are the data types that are used to store those kind of information. So we have date, we have time, we have date time, we have timestamp, we have boolean. So we still have other data types that stores fingerprints, images, and the likes, but that's beyond this particular course. So now we need id. Id is int, right? So I could say int, and that's it. You can see the annoying red stuff is gone. And here for the author name, I know that my author can have like I could still take like 50 characters long for the author name. So I'm going to use varchar, and I'm going to say 50 here. So if an author's name is more than 50 character, it's going to throw back an error. So this should work. So if I create this table now, it's going to work. Now the table is created. So if I run this sys.tables again, this sys.tables something, you can see now I have author, and it's the information attributed to it. Can you see that? So now let's go ahead and create the book. Exactly, we are there. So now if we create the book, we know that the book is going to have what? Name, title, year, and pages, right? And we also need the author of the book, right? But we don't want to use the author's name, we want to use the author's ID. So let's say create again table, and the table name is what? Book or books, however. So you put this, the name of the book. Name is title now, so there's no point using name. Is name not title? So we're gonna say title. We're also gonna say year. We're gonna say pages, and then we're gonna say author ID. Now we want to assign characters to each of this. The title, I want it to be a varchar. It should be 100 character long. The year should be what? Date, right? Dates. The pages should be integer, right? The author ID, I want the author ID to be, I want the authors to be part of, to be an information that is going to be fetched from this author table. But I can't do that because I did not create a standpoint here in this table that I want to use this information in another table. So which means that I need to edit this table. Now how do I edit this table? That's where this alter comes into play. Now I want to alter this table so that this ID becomes a primary key. Now we call something constraints. is for just one instance. So what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to drop this table. So now to drop this table now, I'm going to say drop table, then the name of the table. So I'm going to drop this table now. Now the table no longer exists. So if I run this one again, no table exists. So here again, I'm going to say I want the value to be an integer value, and I don't want to have to be the one to add it every time. I want the system to automatically increase the number, which means that the first author will take ID 1, the second author will take ID 2, and the likes. So I'm going to say identity where do I want to start from? I want it to start from 1. Where do you want it to how do you want it to increase? I want it to increase by 1. So which means that this has taken care of me being the one putting author 1, author 2, author 3, and the likes. So, and I want it to also be a primary key, which means that I don't want a duplicate of any author's number. So now I've made this author ID my primary key. So I can have multiple Balogun require as long as they do not represent the same person. So we can actually have more than just these two entities in our author table. We can have their educational background and all of that to just differentiate author 1 from author 2 in a case where we have the same name. But we are not going to do that. You can do that from your side, but I'm not going to do that here. So now if I run this now, I just recreated the table. So this author ID, I want to tell SQL that okay, I want this author ID to be taken from this author table. So I'm going to say author ID, and I'm going to say that this author ID is referencing this author table. So to do that, I'm going to say this author ID is a foreign key, give me a second, I need water. Please give me a second, I need water. So I'm going to say that I want this author ID to also be to take a particular data type, and I want the data type to be what? Int. Right? And I want to also tell SQL that this author ID is a foreign key. That means I want it to reference another table, which is author. So how do I say that? I'll say foreign key, and then the name of the foreign key that is in the table, and the name of the table that it is referencing this table, author table. I'm just going to copy that here, and the column that it is referencing is ID. So I don't want to leave this year like this. I'm just going to say year of something something. I'm going to say year of publication, YOP, like this, because it's seeing that year as a keyword. You can see the color was different from the other one, so it's seeing it as a keyword. So I think everything looks good now. So let's run this. So now the table has been created. So let's run this first one again. So now we have two tables, author and books. So if we try to read each of this, so now at the moment now we don't have any information in each of these tables. We have select everything from author, select everything from books, nothing is here, nothing is here because we don't have any author, right? So I can decide to add in information here also. I can say now I think I should have like author's location. I can edit this table. So how do I edit this table? I'll come here. This is author. What we have done now, we are still on data definition. We have created a table, we have dropped a table. Now we want to alter a table. We feel like, okay, this author ID and author name is not enough. We need to have like their location, because we can have like multiple Balogun require, but then maybe their location will make them different, or their contact or their email or something like that. I think email is going to be better off. So let's use email. Now to add email, I'm not just going to say email here and then pull voucher. If I do this, it doesn't get added to the table. As a matter of fact, if I delete everything in this thing, if I delete everything here, my database still exists. So the fact that I still have my script here doesn't mean that if I edit my script here, it's going to get, the table will get updated. Don't forget that my data is getting saved into my database and my information is getting stored on the server. So the information that is getting stored on the server has nothing to do with what I have on the screen. So whether I add email or a couple of information here, it doesn't change anything in the database. So to make an effective change of what I want to change, I need to use the keyword alter. So to alter my table, now I'm going to say alter table, the name of the table that I want to alter, which is what, author, and what I want to alter, like what do I want to change. I want to add a new column, right? Why is this changing? I want to add a new column. I want to say add, then I want to add a column. The name of the column I want to add is email, right? And I want my email to be what? To be a voucher. And I want it to be 50 characters long. That's the maximum I want to take, and I don't want it to be empty. So when I say not null, it means I do not want it to be empty. So when I run this now, everything looks good. So when I come back and run my author table, now I have my email added. Okay, so now that is all on DDL. So the next command that we're going to be working on is DML. Which as this one, the asterisk means all. This statement means select everything from the system tables. So but then here is going to be all the tables that are in the active database. So when I say here select star from authors, it means select everything from the author table. Make sense? So this means select everything from the book table. Do you understand? So I'm going to give you an exercise to do. You're going to create your own database. You're going to try out everything that we have done here. Then we're going to move on to DML, data manipulation language. Okay, so under data manipulation language, these are the things that we are going to be working on. Data manipulation language, we are going to insert values into our table. We are going to update those values, and we are going to delete those values. Okay, but first you need to get this up and running first. All right.